This latest move comes a day after the new White House Communications Director, Anthony Scaramucci, alluded that Priebus may be behind media leaks from the White House. Priebus told Sean Hannity last night those rumors of backstage drama are way off base.
I think the palace intrigue stuff is annoying, and I think it's a distraction. It takes away from the president's agenda.
Here to weigh in and talk about the future, our fair and balanced political panel. Brian McGuire is Republican strategist and former chief staff for Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Dan Cannon is a Democratic strategist and a former EPA liaison for President Barack Obama. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here. Thank you.
All right, I want to start with you, Dan, because I'm interested in your reaction. This is arguably one of the most dramatic shakeups that we've seen. But there's some articles really blaming Reince Priebus for things, such as not being able to keep the White House focused. Is that fair? I mean, I know he had a strong leadership role there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of moving parts in this administration.
It's complicated. It's hard. I've actually known Reince Priebus, not personally, but of him for a long time. I worked in the Wisconsin State Senate campaign when Bob Wirtz beat him in 2004. I'm from Wisconsin, so it's a guy I've known for quite a bit. I think he had a really tough job, a really impossible job in lots of ways. There's a great story today in Politico about the challenges he had running from one meeting to the next, just trying to keep up with all of the different threads within the White House, tracking what his boss was doing at any given moment. And as we saw, and as Doug just said, when your boss can tweet something at 7 a.m. in the morning that no one has heard of or thought through or had a policy consideration about, it makes a chief of staff job really, really difficult. And I think the challenge is going to be for General Kelly. He may have the respect of President Trump, but is that going to change the behavior of the president?
So I want to get you and Brian, not necessarily a fair criticism of Reince Priebus when they said that he wasn't keeping the White House team focused.
I think that there was clearly a management problem in the White House. It's impossible from the outside to say exactly what the extent or the cause of these management problems is. But I think if you're a Republican, you have to be encouraged by the choice of General Kelly, because here's a man that not only reflects the fact that the White House knows that it has a management problem in making a move like this, but also is somebody who clearly would bring the kind of discipline that this organization needs right now.
And we know the president has said that he's not necessarily a fan of politicians, old school politicians.
Right.
Is bringing a general into this role something that you feel behooves the administration?
I think the president has an admirable admiration for men of the military, and I think in this case he's matching that instinct with a real need, which is discipline and focus in the White House. So I think, again, if you're a Republican, you have to be encouraged by the fact that a Marine general is now going to be running an operation that clearly needs some help.
Okay, but matching that instinct, but you also need to have just plain old experience. Don't get me wrong, the general has experience, but I'm talking about political experience.
Yeah, I do think you have to have that. This is a very political job. Instincts matter. Having an understanding of how to tackle a situation in the moment is going to matter. Fundamentally, though, I mean, I agree with Brian. I think just basic organization, basic structure, basic ability to roll out policy decisions in a coordinated fashion have not happened. This Scaramucci rollout of himself has been a disaster for him and for the president, maybe distracting from some things in a helpful way in some bizarre fashion.
But they're going to turn and say it's not a disaster because this is the way he communicates. He's straightforward and he's blunt, and he didn't know that he was on the record when he had that
conversation. Here's why it's a disaster. When that article was being written by Ryan Lizza the night before the health care vote, that's what the president was talking about. He was talking about Jeff Sessions, Scaramucci, this palace intrigue between Reince and the rest of the folks in that building, and not making calls in a helpful way on message to get to 51 votes on an important health care bill that didn't ultimately get done.
Okay, that being said, okay, so what's next? I mean, if we see these shakeups, are things not getting done?
Well, just to build on that last point, I think it is no coincidence that the motion to proceed succeeded earlier this week after a serious engagement by the White House on health care, and then the following vote failed on Thursday, the same day that a new White House advisor was attacking Steve Bannon in the pages of the New Yorker.
I'll let you get the last word. Do you think things are looking up for this administration?
Well, we'll believe it when we see it. I think it's very, very hard to see that this turns around anytime soon.
Oh, well, let's see. Let's give everybody a chance, and we'll see. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us today.